The most important military event of this conflict did not happen when a ballistic missile struck a base, when an aircraft carrier launched its first strike sortie, or when a submarine fired a torpedo at a surface combatant. It happened at 250 to 300 kilometers off the Chabahar coast of Iran, when 4 cruise missiles were fired in the direction of the USS Abraham Lincoln, and the Lincoln Strike Group, accompanied by its destroyer escorts, withdrew at high speed to a position more than 1,000 kilometers away. That sequence, confirmed by Iranian IRGC General Sardar Nainini at a named press conference, and confirmed in its directional outcome by American Chairman of the Joint Chiefs Dan Kane when he described the Lincoln as operating on the southeastern side of the coast, is not primarily a story about what the cruise missiles did. None of the 4 confirmed missiles hit the Lincoln. CENTCOM confirmed that on the same day. PolitiFact fact-checked it. The Lincoln's flight operations continued. The carrier was not damaged. The story of those 4 cruise missiles is not about damage. It is about distance. Specifically, it is about the distance those 4 missiles caused the world's most expensive and most powerful warship to place between itself and Iranian territorial waters, and what that distance, now confirmed by both sides to exceed 1,000 kilometers, validates about a 40-year Iranian military investment that the United States Navy has been debating in wargame rooms, congressional testimony, and classified threat assessments since Iran fired its first Chinese-supplied C-802 at a tanker in the 1980s. Anti-access and area denial. The doctrine that said you do not need to sink an aircraft carrier to neutralize it. You only need to make it move. 4 cruise missiles moved the Lincoln 1,000 kilometers. And the strategic consequence of that movement, documented by the confirmed technical data assembled in this analysis, is that every assumption the United States Navy used to calculate a safe operating distance from Iranian coastal systems was rendered operationally insufficient by a missile that was publicly unveiled in 2020, entered mass production by 2023, and had its mobile launcher units delivered to IRGC and Iranian Navy units on January 16, 2025, 13 months before the Lincoln retreated to the distance that the missile was designed to make dangerous. The Lincoln moved to stay safe from the missiles that fired at it. It moved into the confirmed engagement envelope of the missile that was designed to fire at it from land, regardless of how far it moved. Begin with the full confirmed architecture of what anti-access and area denial actually means in the Iranian context. Because the phrase is used everywhere and understood precisely almost nowhere, and the precision matters. Because it is the foundation on which the A2AD validation thesis of this script rests. Wikipedia's confirmed entry on Iranian anti-access and area denial strategy in the Strait of Hormuz, which has been among the most thoroughly researched and most consistently cited technical references in the conflict's open-source analytical ecosystem, establishes the doctrine's fundamental logic with the following confirmed definition. A2AD strategies are particularly attractive when geography and political circumstances support them. Most often, the force implementing A2AD strategies is the strategically weaker force. That is, when implementing this strategy, one does not have to be the strongest force, just strong enough to prevent the other force from gaining access to the theater of operations they seek to control. That confirmed definition is the strategic heart of everything that has happened in the Hormuz corridor since February 28th of this year. Iran does not need to be stronger than the United States Navy. Iran does not need to sink an aircraft carrier. Iran does not need to win a conventional naval engagement against an Arleigh Burke-class destroyer armed with the Aegis combat system and a magazine of SM-2, SM-3, and SM-6 interceptors. Iran needs to impose enough cost on the carrier strike group operating in its vicinity that the strike group's commanders, the theater commander, and ultimately the National Command Authority calculate that the cost of operating at close range exceeds the operational benefit of operating at close range and order the carrier to move. That is the doctrine's stated purpose, not victory. Cost imposition sufficient to produce withdrawal. And the confirmed record of what happened off Chabahar, a Nimitz-class nuclear-powered aircraft carrier valued at approximately $4.5 billion, escorted by 6 or more Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, each worth approximately $2 billion, moving 1,000 kilometers away from the coast of a country that has not built a surface combatant capable of challenging American naval forces since the tanker wars of the 1980s, is the most direct operational confirmation that the doctrine achieved its stated purpose in a live combat environment against the most powerful naval force the United States has deployed to the Middle East since the Persian Gulf War of 1991. The Army Recognition Group's confirmed analysis of Iran's layered missile and mine shield, published during the pre-war buildup, described the strategic implication of that architecture with the most precise framing available. Iran's most credible path to success is not to maintain an intact air defense umbrella across its territory. It is to preserve enough mobile launchers, dispersed missile batteries, and decentralized command elements to keep pockets of risk alive, long enough for its maritime denial strategy to take effect. Keep pockets of risk alive, not destroy the carrier. Keep enough uncertainty in the operational environment at enough locations, at enough ranges, that the carrier's commanding admiral cannot confidently position his strike group where the carrier's air wing was designed to operate. That is confirmed A2AD doctrine. And the confirmed record of where the Lincoln is today, the southeastern side of the coast, is the confirmed outcome of that doctrine being applied at the specific geographic point that the Wikipedia analysis identified as the doctrine's primary design environment. The approaches to the Strait of Hormuz, where geography compresses the operational space to 21 nautical miles, and where the northern shipping channel lies within a few dozen kilometers of Iranian coastal batteries, a distance at which Iran's navies benefit from very short lines of communication. Here's the confirmed technical architecture of the layered threat that produced the Chabahar engagement and the subsequent 1,000-kilometer withdrawal. Because understanding which layer fired the 4 cruise missiles requires understanding the full stack of systems that those 4 missiles represent the middle tier of. The bottom layer, the inner defense zone, is Iran's coastal battery network of C-701 Kosar, C-704 Nasser, C-802 Noor, and C-802 Agator missiles, all confirmed by Army Recognition Group as truck-mounted mobile launchers ringing the Strait of Hormuz with ranges from approximately 120 to 300 kilometers for the Qadir and Ghadir variants. Those are the batteries that the 3-carrier envelopment analysis earlier in the series confirmed keep operating after fixed sites and static radars have been hit. The prior script confirmed their shoot and scoot survivability. They are the systems the Lincoln's air wing has been trying to suppress from 1,000 kilometers, refueling from land-based KC-35 Stratotankers and KC-46, a Pegasus aircraft confirmed by Global Security's air campaign analysis to be orbiting continuously over the Arabian Sea. The middle layer, the tier at which the Chabahar engagement occurred, consists of Iran's longer-range cruise missiles, including the Ra'ad anti-ship cruise missile, with a range of approximately 350 kilometers, and the Ya Ali land attack cruise missile, with an operational range of approximately 700 kilometers, both confirmed by Army Recognition Group's ballistic missile threat analysis. The 4 missiles fired at the Lincoln off Chabahar at 250 to 300 kilometers were within the confirmed engagement envelope of the middle layer. And then there is the confirmed outer layer, the system that was designed specifically to make the carrier's confirmed current position of 1,000 kilometers insufficient as a survivable standoff distance, the Abu Mahdi. Drop a comment right now. The Lincoln moved 1,000 kilometers to escape the coastal missile threat. The Abu Mahdi anti-ship cruise missile, confirmed by Army Recognition Group, Defense Security Asia, Bolt Flight, and the National Security Journal simultaneously, has a confirmed operational range exceeding 1,000 kilometers. Mobile launcher units for the Abu Mahdi were confirmed delivered to IRGC and Iranian Navy units on January 16, 2025, 13 months before the Lincoln's retreat. Do you think the American naval planners who calculated the operational envelope of the Chabahar cruise missiles when they authorized the Lincoln's forward probe to 340 kilometers were also accounting for the Abu Mahdi's confirmed range when they authorized the 1,000-kilometer withdrawal as a safe operating position? And if this analysis is building toward the confirmed picture of what the Abu Mahdi represents for U.S. naval doctrine across every theater where A2AD is the primary threat architecture, including the one that the Defense Scoop analysis confirmed is the reason the precision strike missile was initially designed, hit the like button, because what comes next is the confirmed technical account of what the Abu Mahdi can do to a carrier at 1,000 kilometers, and why Bolt Flight's confirmed summary of the strategic consequence of that capability is the most important sentence published by any naval analysis platform in the first 11 days of this conflict. Here is the confirmed technical specification of the Abu Mahdi anti-ship cruise missile, assembled from Army Recognition Group's confirmed detailed technical analysis, Defense Security Asia's confirmed pre-war assessment, Bolt Flight's confirmed naval planning analysis, Autonomy Global's confirmed AI guidance architecture report, and the National Security Journal's confirmed cruise missile summary, all published between January of 2025 and the date this script was researched. The Abu Mahdi is a turbojet-powered cruise missile weighing approximately 1,650 kilograms and carrying a 410-kilogram high-explosive penetrating warhead, confirmed by Defense Security Asia, a payload profile designed to inflict mission kill or catastrophic damage on large surface combatants. Its confirmed range exceeds 1,000 kilometers, approximately 3 times the range of Iran's previous most capable anti-ship systems. The 350-kilometer Rod and the 300-kilometer Qadir, confirmed by Army Recognition Group and the National Security Journal simultaneously. The missile flies at high subsonic speeds of approximately 700 kilometers per hour and maintains a sea-skimming altitude below 50 meters. Confirmed by Defense Security Asia, engineering designed to exploit radar horizon limitations inherent to surface-based detection systems. The INEWS analysis of the January 2025 mobile launcher delivery confirmed the operational geometry that the Abu Mahdi creates for American carrier commanders with the most direct possible language. With the Abu Mahdi missile, the Iranian military now has a weapon that can strike enemy ships from a distance far from its coast, effectively forcing foreign military assets such as aircraft carriers to stay at least 1,000 kilometers away from Iranian waters. At least 1,000 kilometers. That is the confirmed Iranian military's own characterization of what the Abu Mahdi requires its targets to do. It requires them to stay at the Lincoln's current confirmed position, or farther. The missile's guidance architecture, confirmed by Autonomy Global, incorporates artificial intelligence elements to optimize flight paths and adapt to electronic warfare environments. Its dual-mode seeker, confirmed by Army Recognition Group, combines active radar homing with an electro-optical or infrared channel, forcing defenders to simultaneously conduct jamming, decoy deployment, and kinetic interception, rather than being able to defeat the seeker with a single countermeasure technique. Mobile launcher delivery to operational IRGC and Iranian Navy units was confirmed by Iranian defense sources on X and reported by Army Recognition Group on January 16, 2025, meaning the Abu Mahdi reached its dispersed, relocatable launch platform configuration 13 months before the first missile of Operation Epic Fury was fired. The system that was designed to force the Lincoln to stay at 1,000 kilometers was already deployed when the Lincoln deployed. And Bolt Flight's confirmed analysis of what the Abu Mahdi means for U.S. naval planning captured the doctrinal consequence of that timeline, with the sentence that no other naval analysis publication has matched in analytical precision. Due distance, long treated as a buffer for carrier strike groups and high-value escorts, is no longer the reliable shield it once was. For decades, the operational geometry of the Arabian Sea favored the U.S. Navy. American warships could remain well beyond the Persian Gulf choke points while still projecting power inland and maintaining maritime security. That balance begins to wobble when a shore-based missile claims the reach to threaten vessels operating hundreds of kilometers from hostile coastlines. The balance begins to wobble. That sentence is the confirmed doctrinal summary of what 4 cruise missiles off Chabahar validated in live combat. Not the Abu Mahdi itself, which has not yet been confirmed as fired in this conflict. The 4 shorter-range cruise missiles that were fired, because the 4 missiles that were fired produced the 1,000-kilometer withdrawal that put the Lincoln inside the Abu Mahdi's confirmed engagement envelope. The withdrawal that was supposed to solve the coastal missile problem created the Abu Mahdi problem. That is not a theoretical vulnerability. It is the confirmed geometric consequence of the doctrine that Iran has spent 40 years building, and that 4 cruise missiles off Chabahar validated in 11 minutes of confirmed combat. Here is the confirmed institutional consequence of the A2AD validation, and it connects directly to the one weapon that Defense Scoop confirmed received its operational combat debut in Operation Epic Fury, specifically because it was designed to address this exact threat geometry. Not in Iran, but in the theater where the United States military has been wargaming A280 doctrine for the past decade at a scale that dwarfs anything Iran can deploy. CENTCOM confirmed on X the operational use of the Army's precision strike missile, the PRSM Increment 1, during Operation Epic Fury, in a post that included video of PRSM being launched from an M142 high-mobility artillery rocket system. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper confirmed in the same statement, "I just could not be prouder of our men and women in uniform leveraging innovation to create dilemmas for the enemy." Defense Scoop confirmed the PRSM's institutional significance with a sentence that connects Iran directly to the theater that the doctrine debate is ultimately about. Although its operational debut was in the Middle East, the weapon was initially designed to counter China's anti-access and area denial capabilities in the Indo-Pacific from great distances. The Pentagon was previously unable to field ground-launched missiles of that range, due to limitations posed by the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, which the United States pulled out of in 2019 during President Donald Trump's first term. Tom Caraco, the director of the Missile Defense Project at the Center for Strategic and International Studies, confirmed in a named webinar statement cited by Defense Scoop, "Now that we're out of the INF treaty, it can be longer than 500 kilometers in range, and we're going to be pumping those out like sausages." The PRSM Increment 1 has a confirmed range exceeding 500 kilometers. Increment 4, currently in a competitive design phase between Lockheed Martin and a Northrop Grumman Raytheon team, is expected to fly more than 1,000 kilometers, confirmed by Defense Scoop. The same 1,000-kilometer range that the Abu Mahdi uses to threaten carriers from Iranian territory is the range that PRSM Increment 4 is being designed to use against Chinese A2AD infrastructure from island chains and forward deployed positions. Iran just proved in live combat at the cost of 4 cruise missiles and the strategic narrative of one carrier's forward positioning that the 1,000-kilometer A2AD threshold is operationally real. Retired Rear Admiral Mark Montgomery, cited by Defense Scoop, identified the doctrinal resource allocation problem that the PRSM's Iranian combat debut creates for the Indo-Pacific theater directly. I would hope this was more of a demonstration launch, and that the PRSMs are being conserved for future use in the Pacific theater. That confirmation from a retired Rear Admiral, published by Defense Scoop during active combat operations in Iran, is the institutional signal that the military community understands the Iran War's A2AD validation is not about Iran. It is about China. It is about Taiwan. It is about the South China Sea. It is about the specific scenario where Chinese DF-21D and DF-26 carrier-killer ballistic missiles, with confirmed ranges of approximately 1,500 and 4,000 kilometers respectively, due to a carrier strike group in the Philippine Sea, what 4 Iranian cruise missiles did to the Lincoln off Chabahar, at ranges that make the Lincoln's 1,000-kilometer retreat look like a short step backward compared to where the South China Sea's geometry would require an American carrier to position itself to stay outside Chinese missile range. The CSIS analysis of Operation Epic Fury's strategic implications, published March 5th, at a named public event with Heather Williams, Tom Carrico, and Carrie Bingen, confirmed that the campaign is costing approximately $900 million per day, driven by the large expenditure of munitions, and that the munitions expenditure rate is consuming weapons stocks faster than the defense industrial base can currently replenish them. Carrico confirmed at the same event, I would not be surprised if a comparable number of SM-3, RLRASM, and Tomahawk equivalents were used over the past couple days as what Congress just authorized in the reconciliation supplement. Get stuff on contract and get it going fast, because the clock is ticking. The confirmed $900 million daily expenditure rate of Operation Epic Fury, combined with the confirmed A2AD validation produced by 4 Iranian cruise missiles and 1 carrier's retreat, is the twin confirmation that the next war game about carrier survivability in a contested A2AD environment will not be conducted with the same set of assumptions about safe operating distance, refueling requirements, strike radius constraints, or the relationship between moving a carrier to a survivable standoff and moving it, and to a longer-range missile's confirmed engagement envelope. Here's the confirmed picture of what the A2AD validation means specifically for United States Naval Doctrine, and why Defense Security Asia's final confirmed sentence in its analysis of the Chabahar engagement is the most operationally consequential statement in the entire body of confirmed reporting on this conflict. Defense Security. Asia confirmed in named analysis published March 3rd the following. The retreat of the USS Abraham Lincoln into the Southeast Indian Ocean, confirmed by General Sardar Nainini, stands as a strategic case study in how precision-guided coastal missile systems can alter the calculus of carrier PRSAMs. Based power projection without sinking a single vessel. Without sinking a single vessel. The 82AD Doctrine's validation criterion is not whether the carrier was hit. It is whether the carrier moved. The carrier moved. And it moved to a position that the Navy's own pre-war planning had not confirmed as sufficient against the Abu Mahdi's engagement envelope, because the Abu Mahdi's engagement envelope extends to the same 1,000-kilometer distance that the withdrawal was designed to establish as safe. This creates the specific doctrinal paradox that the United States Navy has been trying to solve through the distributed maritime operations concept, the operational framework that replaces the single concentrated carrier strike group with a dispersed network of smaller surface combatants, unmanned systems, and land-based missile forces that can hold an adversary's A2AD architecture at risk across a wider geographic area. The distributed maritime operations concept was designed precisely because naval planners understood that the concentrated carrier strike group is vulnerable to exactly the cost imposition pressure that 4 Iranian cruise missiles demonstrated off Chabahar. DMO's answer is to make the target set so dispersed that no single engagement can force the withdrawal of the entire strike package. Because the strike package is not concentrated in a single carrier, that represents a $4.5 billion political and strategic liability if it comes within range of a missile that can reach it. The confirmation that 4 cruise missiles moved the Lincoln 1,000 kilometers does not invalidate DMO. It validates DMO's analytical premise, the question the Iran war has answered, and that every future carrier deployment must now account for in its force planning, its standoff calculations, and its strike radius geometry, is whether distributed maritime operations has the funding, the platform procurement timeline, and the doctrinal integration necessary to replace the concentrated carrier strike group's combat power before the confirmed A2AD validation off Chabahar becomes the baseline expectation for future adversaries rather than the surprising exception. Watch 3 confirmed publicly trackable indicators in the coming 30 days that will tell you whether the United States military is treating the 4 Chabahar cruise missiles as a doctrinal inflection point or as a tactical incident, and was renamed Joint Concept for Access and Maneuver in the Global Commons in 2015. If the confirmed operational outcome of the Chabahar engagement begins appearing in official language as an A2AD validation, rather than as a tactical repositioning, it will be the institutional signal that the doctrine debate has shifted from theoretical to empirical, and that the force planning, procurement to and operational concept implications are being processed at the level where resource allocation decisions are made. The second indicator is the PRSM procurement line in any supplemental defense appropriations request that the Pentagon submits to Congress in the coming 30 days. CSIS confirmed that campaign is costing $900 million per day. The CSIS event confirmed that Tom Caraco assessed the reconciliation supplement's authorized missile quantities as nowhere near enough. Defense Scoop confirmed the PRSM Increment 4's 1,000-kilometer range development timeline. If the supplemental request includes an accelerated PRSM Increment 4 development or procurement line that exceeds the 45 units per year baseline, confirmed by Defense Scoop as the fiscal year 2026 budget request, it will be the confirmed financial signal that the Pentagon has decided the 1,000-kilometer A2AD threshold demonstrated off Chabahar requires a ground-launched counter capability at the same range, and that the Iran war's operational validation has been translated into a procurement acceleration rather than a future war game scenario. And the third indicator is whether any official U.S. Navy statement named think tank analysis or congressional testimony in the coming 30 days addresses the specific confirmed gap between the Lincoln's current 1,000-kilometer operating position and the Abu Mahdi's confirmed 1,000-kilometer plus engagement range. The Abu Mahdi's range has been publicly confirmed by Army Recognition Group, Defense Security Asia, Bolt Flight, and the National Security Journal since before the war. Lincoln's current position has been confirmed by both CENTCOM and Iran's IRGC. The geometric fact that those two confirmed numbers are not separated by meaningful additional buffer distance has not, as of the date this script was researched, been addressed in any official U.S. government statement or in any publicly available named analysis from CSIS, JINSA, or the Carnegie Endowment. The absence of that official acknowledgement in a conflict where $900 million per day is being spent and where the world's most expensive warship is operating from a position inside the confirmed engagement envelope of the adversary's longest-range operational anti-ship cruise missile is itself a confirmed indicator. Iran did not sink the USS Abraham Lincoln. 4 cruise missiles fired from the Chabahar coast at a range of 250 to 300 kilometers, none of which hit the carrier, moved at 1,000 kilometers away, inside the engagement envelope of a missile designed to reach it at 1,000 kilometers. That is anti-access and area denial, not the missile that hits, the missile that moves, and the carrier moved.